Imagine a king, so deeply in love that he marries his bride, thinking he's finally gotten his fairy tale ending. But the whole time, he's living a beautiful, tragic lie. Because the woman wearing the crown? She isn't his fiancée. She's an imposter. She is his bride's identical twin sister. The very woman who poisoned the real bride on their wedding day to steal her life, her love, and her throne. This is the story of how a king's perfect romance curdled into suspicion, and how he uncovered a horrifying truth that was hiding in plain sight, right by his side. In the sun-drenched kingdom of Eldoria, King Alaric seemed to have it all: power, respect, and the love of his people. But his real treasure was Lady Elara. She was his perfect match. Where Alaric was strong and decisive, Elara was gentle and kind. She found joy in the little things, from the wildflowers in the royal gardens to the shy smiles of the kitchen staff. Their love story was the kingdom's favorite obsession, and their wedding was the biggest event in a generation. The people adored Elara, knowing she'd be a just and compassionate queen. But nobody knew Elara had a secret, a shadow who looked just like her. Her name was Lysandra, her identical twin, who had been raised far from the court, her heart twisting with bitterness and envy. From a distance, she watched Elara live the life Lysandra was convinced should have been hers. She saw the stunning castle, the adoring public, and the handsome king, and a deep, venomous jealousy took hold. She didn't just want what Elara had. She believed she deserved it more. While Elara was happy with simple acts of kindness, Lysandra craved power. She was certain she was smarter, stronger, and far more suited to rule than her soft-hearted sister. And she was willing to do absolutely anything to prove it. The day of the royal wedding finally arrived, and the entire kingdom was bursting with celebration. King Alaric stood at the altar, his heart soaring. In her chambers, Elara was the picture of happiness, her smile brighter than the sun. But just before she was about to walk down the aisle, the door opened. It was Lysandra. She walked in with a warm, sisterly smile that hid the darkness inside. She claimed she'd come to make peace and wish her well. As a token, she offered Elara a silver chalice filled with a shimmering liquid. "A ceremonial drink," Lysandra said smoothly, "for good fortune and a long, happy reign." Elara, always ready to forgive, saw this as a beautiful gesture. She took the chalice, looked into her sister's eyes, so like her own, and drank every last drop. A moment later, a cold fire shot through her veins. Her vision blurred, her strength evaporated, and she collapsed, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The room descended into chaos. Royal physicians rushed in but were completely baffled. There was no wound, no sign of sickness, just a life that was fading away. Within the hour, the joyous wedding bells were silenced, replaced by the grim toll of funeral bells. Lady Elara was pronounced dead. In the middle of the kingdom's grief, Lysandra played the role of the devastated sister perfectly. She found the king, who was completely shattered. With tears streaming down her face, she told him an incredible lie. She said Elara's final wish was for the wedding to go on in private, to unite the kingdom and keep it stable. Alaric, his mind clouded by grief, saw it as the only way left to honor the woman he loved. He agreed. And that night, in a quiet, secret ceremony, King Alaric married Lysandra, believing he was honoring his lost love, when he was really embracing her murderer. Life with the new queen began, but the fairy tale was over. The woman Alaric married looked exactly like Elara, but a disturbing coldness had settled where her warmth used to be. At first, he brushed it off as a symptom of grief, a shadow left over from the trauma of her sudden illness. But the strange incidents just kept piling up, each one a tiny crack in Lysandra's perfect mask. The first big red flag was in the royal gardens. The gardens were Elara's sanctuary, a place she'd cultivated herself. One morning, Alaric found his new wife with the royal architect, giving a shocking order: tear it all down. She wanted the flowers replaced with a stark, gray stone courtyard for military drills. Alaric was stunned. "But Elara," he started, "you loved these gardens." Lysandra's eyes went hard. "Grief changes people. I have no time for flowers anymore." And just like that, the the gardens were destroyed. Then her cruelty turned to the palace staff. The real Elara knew every servant by name and treated them like family. Lysandra, on the other hand, ruled with an iron fist, punishing the smallest mistakes harshly. One day, an elderly handmaiden, who had served Elara since childhood, dared to question the queen's decision to sell a tapestry Elara had cherished. In a fit of rage, Lysandra had the loyal servant banished from the palace forever. Alaric was horrified. This wasn't the compassionate woman he fell in love with. The final, undeniable proof came one quiet evening. Trying to reconnect with the wife he felt slipping away, Alaric started humming a simple, secret tune. It was a song he'd written just for Elara while they were courting. Only the two of them knew it. He looked at his wife, expecting a smile of recognition. Instead, he got a blank stare that quickly soured into anger. "What is that strange song?" she snapped. "Is this some kind of test?" In that one moment, the cold, horrifying truth began to dawn on him. This woman wore his wife's face, but she didn't have his wife's memories. The unthinkable possibility finally took root in his mind. The woman he married was not Elara. The banished handmaiden, Elspeth, was heartbroken. Driven by grief, she went to Elara's grand marble tomb to pray. As she knelt in the cold silence, a faint, ethereal whisper seemed to drift from the stone. It sounded just like Elara, a ghostly echo pleading for help. For a fleeting moment, a shimmering image of the true bride appeared, pointing not to the heavens, but to a forgotten corner of the castle, the old apothecary tower. Meanwhile, King Alaric's suspicion had spiraled into a secret investigation. He locked himself in Elara's old rooms, desperately sifting through her things for a clue. He finally found it, tucked inside a hidden compartment in her desk, a small, leather-bound journal. His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside, Elara wrote about a recent, shocking discovery. She had reconnected with her long-lost twin sister, Lysandra. While Elara wrote with hope about their future, she also confessed a deep-seated fear, describing a darkness in her sister's eyes she couldn't ignore. Her very last entry mentioned her plan to bring Lysandra to live at the castle, right after the wedding. Just as Alaric finished reading, a guard announced that Elspeth had returned, begging to see him. Risking her life to defy the banishment, her loyalty to the real Elara was stronger than her fear. She told him everything: the ghostly vision, the whisper for help, and the spirit pointing to the apothecary tower. The king's blood ran cold. The journal, the handmaiden's story, it was all pointing to one monstrous truth. Armed with the journal and Elspeth's testimony, Alaric didn't waste another second. He strode through the castle and confronted Lysandra right in front of the royal council. He held up the journal. "Tell me about your twin sister," he demanded, his voice dangerously quiet. Lysandra's face went white. For just a second, her royal mask slipped, revealing pure panic. She recovered quickly and let out a shrill, unnatural laugh, calling the journal a forgery and Elspeth a crazy old woman. But her frantic denial was all the proof Alaric needed. He gave a quiet signal, and the royal guards surrounded her as she screamed insults. Leaving her there, Alaric raced to the apothecary tower with a few trusted guards and Elspeth. Inside, among dusty vials, they found a loose floorboard. Beneath it was a lead-lined box. When he opened it, he found a vial with the last drops of a rare, paralytic poison known to perfectly mimic death. Next to it was a stack of letters in Lysandra's own handwriting, detailing her entire monstrous plan. But as he stood there, a faint scraping sound came from below. They found a hidden latch under a rug, which opened to a dark staircase leading down into a secret dungeon. With torches held high, they descended into the cold damp. And there, chained to the wall, was a weak, emaciated figure. It was the real Elara, pale and barely conscious, but alive. The poison was never meant to be fatal. It was designed to induce a deep paralysis, giving Lysandra the chance to stage a death, hide her sister away, and steal her life. Elara was carefully carried out of the dungeon and back into the light. With the help of the best physicians, she slowly regained her strength. Her voice was weak, but her story was powerful, confirming every single detail of Lysandra's betrayal. A week later, the court was assembled once more. Lysandra was dragged in, still defiant. But her pride shattered when Alaric presented the evidence: the poison, her letters, and Elspeth's testimony. Then came the final, living proof. The great doors of the throne room swung open, and Queen Elara, frail but determined, walked in to stand beside the king. A gasp echoed through the hall. Lysandra just stared, her face a mask of disbelief and pure hatred. Exposed and defeated, she finally broke, screaming a torrent of jealous rage at her sister and confessing everything. Her sentence was swift. She was to be taken to the same dungeon where she'd left her sister to die, to spend the rest of her days in the darkness she created. The kingdom erupted in celebration. King Alaric and the true Queen Elara were married again, this time not in a secret, somber ceremony, but in a joyous festival. Their bond, having survived the ultimate test of deception and death, was now unbreakable. They ruled Eldoria for many years, their love story becoming a legend. A reminder that truth always finds its way to the light, and true love can conquer even the darkest of shadows. If you enjoyed this story of deception and justice, be sure to subscribe and hit that like button to help the channel out. We'll see you in the next.